Well, hi, welcome to Chapter 2. We tried this via Skype and it did not work very well, so I'm going to record this and then basically we'll go from there. So we're going to get to Chapter 2, and Chapter 2 is Website Design Principles. And I think this is a very important chapter because this chapter is kind of the base of where we need to start with our website. There's a lot of things that we really need to be concerned about, a lot of things we need to be aware of when we're designing websites. And one of the first things this website gets into is the different types of browsers that we have out there. There's all kinds of different browsers. There's really the main 4 to 5, and I think I talked about this first week. We've got Internet Explorer, we've got Firefox, we've got Chrome, we've got Safari, and we also have Opera. Now, when we design web pages, one of the things we have to really be concerned with is who's going to be using it and with what browser. So what browser is going to take this information and basically display it on the screen. And one of the things that I have found out in my professional career is not every website handles the data the same. So there's a lot of different coding things we have to do differently for the different browsers to get it to show up the same. So one of the things we kind of have to deal with in a professional career, you really have to be aware of that, not so much just for convenience sake for your users, but also for your legal standpoint. So one of the things we have to do, again, is be aware of that. We also have to be aware of operating systems. All the different operating systems that are out there handle web pages differently as well, especially with IE, because with IE, for example, let's say you still had XP, I think the highest you can go is IE6, maybe 7 or 8. So all the latest ones that are out there right now, you just don't have access to, so there's a lot of things you're missing out on, a lot of things that you have to deal with there. Where I worked professionally, my professional career, we have to only realize the last or deal with the last 4, I think the 4 versions. That's all we deal with. If you have an older version of that, we kind of say, sorry, tough luck, get a more modern browser. Another thing we have to deal with when we're designing web pages is this thing called cache, C-A-C-H-E. And that is memory built into each browser, and that browser, as we load data into it, goes into that cache. Now the great thing about cache is it kind of keeps that data off to the side. Even if we go to another web page, even if we shut down our computer, even if we basically were to delete some different files, as long as that cache data is still there, the next time we go to that web page, it says, oh, you've been here before. Instead of getting the new data, bring it down, I'm going to take the data you have in there and basically put it into those spots that it's calling for. So if you have a image called ABC, it basically, and that image placeholder on the website is looking for ABC for that website, it goes to the cache and says, oh, I have that picture, so instead of bringing it down from the internet, let's just take it out of cache and load it. And that's why sometimes you go to a web page, old pictures or images will show up, and you try to you wonder, why is that a new picture showing up? So you do a refresh, it basically brings up the new picture. So that's basically what cache does. We have to clean that out every now and then. We have to override it, but it does help our web pages show up faster. That's one of the things we'll talk about later on is what is too much? How many pages or screens do you want to scroll down? So those types of things we really have to think about too when we're designing our web page. Another thing we have to do is we have to think about resolution. We've got all kinds of different devices out there. We've got regular computer screens, we have tablets, we have smartphones, we have all kinds of different things that we can view web pages on. And if we look at some of the different figures in the chapter, For example, if we take a look at figure 2-2, this is basically a screen that has a 1024 by 768. That says it has 1024 pixels width and 768 pixels tall. So it means there's more pixels, we can get more detail, we can get more clarity, and we can make the picture a little bigger and show more detail. If we were to look at figure 2-3, this is basically some of the newer screens that are out there. This is a 1366 by 768. So now we have even wider, same height, a little wider, more pixels, more detail, more things we can fit on that screen with more clarity. But we also have situations where some folks still have some of the old computer screens, or maybe they have a vision problem. We'll talk about that as well. So they have to increase the size of the fonts, whatever. They might change it to an 800 by 600 resolution. That means it's 800 wide by 600. So not as many pixels, not as much clarity, not as much detail. And the things kind of get bigger to basically fit the pixel size. And then finally, we have smartphones, and here's basically what a web page would look like on an iPhone. Now it looks kind of grainy here because we've blown it up, but again, we have a little tiny screen. We only have so many pixels, so we can't get the clarity, we can't get the detail we need on those types of small screens and small devices. So some of the things we have to really think about when we are dealing with all the different things that we have out there when we're writing web pages for. Now, one thing I did want to show you is this thing called responsive. Now, responsive is a type of website. Back in the good old days, we had to create multiple web pages. What I mean by that is, if I wanted to have a business on the internet, I had to have a regular web page, then I had what's called a mobile web page. And we could tell what type of device you had when you went to a website, and then we would go ahead and say, you know what, you're a mobile device, we're going to go ahead and automatically show the mobile web page. Well, today, back up a little bit. What was bad with that is I had two websites I had to maintain. So if we had any kind of changes to the content of that website, I had to go to two spots to keep it updated. And it's very, very complicated, especially in a commercial world, because there's so much logistics and there's so many legal factors that we have to deal with. So what we have today is a thing called responsive. That's where we can make the screen fit the device. And here's an example of one that I've been playing around with responsive for the past couple of months. And this is a website that I have for my little local motorcycle group that we ride with. And if I were to resize the screen, the way you can check to see if a screen is responsive is to make it smaller. And as we make it smaller, you'll see things get smaller. I do have to change this happy birthday thing down here. But you'll see things kind of start shifting around. And one thing you'll notice is this menu. You'll notice the menu goes from content to just a gray bar. The gray bar says, I've shrunk the icons and the text down too small that it's unreadable. I'm going to show this. All I have to do now is click, and it brings up the menu that way. So a couple of different things we can do as the screen gets smaller. If I were to go to, let's say, this page, again, as I make it bigger, as I make it bigger, things basically shrink down and fit the screen. Notice how the text is kind of running together, and then at some point, because of responsive, it makes it one column as opposed to three. So it shrinks everything down so it fits the screen. So that's the great thing about responsive. Now, is mine totally 100% responsive? No, it's not totally 100%, but I'm getting there. So I'm still playing around with getting those things. And one of the things we do is we take these graphics, and instead of making them a fixed size, we'll talk about fixed size in a little bit, instead of making it a fixed size, I say make it a percentage of the screen I'm in. So when the screen gets smaller, that image gets smaller as well. So very, very important in that aspect. The next part chapter says plan for easy access to your information. So one of the things we hate to do is, I call it hide and seek on some websites. They'll say, yeah, go to our website for this information. You go there, where is it? And I have to basically do a search and destroy mission just to find the data or the picture or the file that they said is there, and they don't make it easy for you. If you're going to have a website that's usable, make it just that. Make it usable. Make it user-friendly. It says also plan for a clear presentation of your information. Realize that folks are not going to sit there and read every single piece on your web page. We have folks who are called skimmers. They can go to a website and skim, boom, 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 and go on. In the book it says keep the 7 plus or minus 2 rule of information when you're designing. And it says users cannot comprehend more than 7 plus or minus 2 steps of segments or information at one time. So the 7 rule is basically kind of a guideline we need to utilize. And it's 7 plus or minus 2. So try to keep it right around 7 and you should be okay. So what they're saying is if you have to go through more than 7 steps to get to something, you probably got too many and you're going to lose your users and they're going to get out of here and they're going to basically just say, I'm done with this website. In the book, it's got a demo of letsgo.com. And if we go here, notice how simplistic this website is. Let's Go, the leader in student travel. And if we scroll down, look at that. How easy is that? Where do you want to go? There they are. There's the top destinations. We go down, it talks about homestay.com. Talks about gap year. Here's Let's Go recommends. So here's some different recommends. So look how easy this website is to use. There's just not a whole lot there. Very, very simplistic menu here at the top. You can click shop. Look how easy it is. Very, very bright, big things. Not a whole lot of stuff to read through. So just a great website. Very user friendly, easy to use. So not too bad. Another thing you notice this website uses is a theme. Notice it's got kind of a theme to it. Notice it's got the kind of the heuristic kind of colors, kind of an old-fashioned kind of a font. The books here have kind of a European kind of a look and feel to them. Bright colors, and notice that whatever page I go to, they all kind of have that same look and feel to it. So it's kind of got the same color scheme, same pictures, fonts, so on and so forth. So the theme is basically what I'm trying to sell here is there's a theme to this site. So it's everything's kind of just basically goes on there. Another thing it talks about is smooth transitions. And that basically says smooth transitions between pages, repeating colors, fonts, so on and so forth. And I've kind of talked about those things on this website. Notice the same fonts, same font sizes, the headings are the same, that bright color scheme for each page. It looks like each page probably, well, no, there's the same color there. Here's accommodations. I can click there. What do we get? That's a different website, Hostel Worldwide. So anyway, so all kinds of different things to basically look at. So, so again, when we're designing web pages, these are the things we have to really think about. So really sit down and think about that. Software I use allows me to only record in 15-minute increments, so I'm getting towards the end of that. So I'm going to basically drop it off here, and we'll see you in the next video.